Hey guys, welcome back to this week's video. I thought it would be a really great idea to start incorporating some old things that I think we've probably covered here on this channel, but some new things and putting some different twists on it. At this stage of life, being in midlife, I feel like we start to really ask ourselves a lot of questions like, are we happy? Is this what we want to be doing for the rest of our lives? Are we content in our relationship? Like, do we feel fulfilled? A lot of us go through this reinvention period at this point in our life because we've done so much and we kind of like stop and pause and we ask ourselves, like, hey, are we even happy? And when you start to ask yourself those kind of questions, you are opening yourself up to hear the word no. And when we hear the word no, that means that we have to start doing something different. It means we're going to probably need to go in a different direction. And that can be really scary and it can be really intimidating. It can be really fun. You could be really excited. It really all depends on how much you were suffering and how much you want something different now going forward. When we are at these pivotal points in our life, we have this lovely inner voice called self-doubt that starts to creep in. So perhaps you know what you want next for yourself, but you're filled with a lot of fear. You're questioning yourself a lot and you feel really unsure. This little pit inside of yourself that's giving you all of this information. I don't know, I'm unsure, I'm questioning everything, I'm fearful. It's gonna come from a lot of different places. The first place could possibly be a past experience. If you went through something before and it didn't work out, then the chances of you thinking that it may not work out again is highly likely. And this is just the way that your brain actually works. Is it remembers things. It doesn't remember things accurately. It's not there to really help you. Sometimes it can actually hurt you, but it's there because it has a memory of something that you did and it doesn't want you to make the same mistake again, quote unquote. So it gives you fear, it gives you self-doubt, so you can be so unsure of yourself that you kind of like stop and pause and you actually don't do anything at all. Sometimes the self-doubt creeps in because we're just fearful of being judged. We're fearful of failing. We don't want to be told no. We don't want any kind of uncomfortable or rocky road ahead of us. And so the self-doubt makes you just stop dead in your tracks. If you suffer from insecurity, low self-esteem, not a ton of confidence, then you're going to compare yourself to other people. So when you start to look at someone else who maybe has what you want, you're going to go into, that's probably not going to happen for me. And that's a self-worth issue and a confidence issue. That has everything to do with whether or not you feel good enough, being who you are, knowing what you know, having what you have, to be able to produce what that person has. Self-doubt can also creep in if you just don't feel prepared, right? Like if you just don't feel like you know enough in an area that you want to go into. So self-doubt can creep into whether it's a job, whether it's something you want to do as a hobby, whether it's meeting new friends, whether it's a relationship, whether it's making more money, whether it's buying a house, having a car, taking that trip, whatever, it can creep in. In terms of not feeling confident in yourself because you just don't know enough, that will create the feeling of self-doubt. When that starts to happen a lot, and also you're getting just negative feedback from everyone else, right? Maybe someone tells you that you're asking for too much in relationships. Maybe someone tells you that, hey, what you're trying to achieve, that's really, really hard. And you start to feel like, well, maybe it's just so hard that it's actually not doable. So the negative voices, whether it's society, whether it's friends and family, whoever that comes in, now starts to become your inner voice. And everyone else's voice, society, friends, family, they can be a very strong presence within your own self, but no one is going to be able to top your own inner voice. And your own inner voice, it's what's making you doubt yourself down the road, making you doubt yourself right now, because you don't have the internal conversation that you should have that's going to support you to feel what you need to feel in order to just take step one. I think a lot of us suffer from perfectionism. So I want it to be perfect right now. I want it to look a certain way. I want to go from 0 to 60 and I don't want to feel anything uncomfortable along the way. I just want instant gratification, instant results. I want to immediately get there. And it just doesn't work like that. And I think at this point in our lives, being in midlife, we know that that's just not the case. It's not realistic. It's fantasy type of thinking. It's not wanting to be uncomfortable, not wanting to not be perfect, but just do it anyways. When you're confident in yourself, and that's what we're really kind of, yeah, we're talking about self-doubt, but we're talking about confidence actually within your own self to have the things that you want and to go after them. If you feel like you have to do everything right before you even start, or everything needs to look a certain way, that means you're not comfortable being uncomfortable. You're not comfortable being vulnerable to say, you know what? Yeah, I didn't do it right. I didn't do it absolutely right. I tried my best. And now I'm going to learn and I'm going to pivot and I'm going to alter and I'm going to make adjustments. That's a confident person. And that's a person that doesn't lead with self-doubt. They might have some unstableness, right? They may be a little unsure of themselves, but they are not filled with a lot of self-doubt. They have more confidence than they have fear. Now, self-doubt is a beautiful thing, and it's going to be able to help you. When I want you to understand how it can be useful instead of it being something that's actually hurting you from going forward. The doubt that you have could actually make you slow down a little bit, not slow down to stop and not go forward, but slow down a little bit so you can understand, okay, what steps should I take next? And really be a little bit logical, analytical with something, not overthink something too much, but just plan this out. Process everything before just jumping in head first. When you start to have that kind of mindset, now you're going to start asking yourself really great questions. And when you ask yourself great questions and you start getting some answers, it's going to help you to decide which way you're going to pivot. Doubt shows up because, yes, you probably struggle with some perfectionism, but it also means that you really care and you actually want to do a good job and you actually want to be successful. It's that little negative inner voice that's honestly probably the biggest bully in the room and the problem for you not to keep pushing forward. Doubt isn't really the enemy because we're all going to have doubt. It's supposed to be a teacher. It's supposed to help you. It's supposed to get you to see where those weaknesses are, where those gaps are so you can fill them, so you can do something different so you can get a different result, or do something different so you can actually just get what it is that you say you want. I don't know how you are, but for me, whenever I have self-doubt, I had it in the very beginning when I started my YouTube channel and I started my business, a little bit of self-doubt that would creep in. And actually, I bought equipment and ring lights and all the things. I bought all the equipment to start my channel, and it sat in my house for about a year until I finally hired a coach. And he said, "Are you kidding me? It's been sitting there for a year and you haven't made a video?" He's like, "Make a video." And that was all it took for me personally. Just that little bit of someone holding me accountable and that little bit of shame was enough for me to go, money well spent, and I'm going to make my first video. And that was the very first video that I ever uploaded to YouTube. You know, self-doubt doesn't just go away because you did one thing and you get out of your comfort zone. You will build confidence when you overcome self-doubt. Let it be there and just do it anyways, and let it be messy and let it be uncomfortable and let it not look exactly the way you want it to look. And nothing ever is going to, because that's not what this is about. This is always about just you growing and expanding and learning. Everything you do, every relationship you have, every job you have, career, anything that you want next for yourself. And, you know, maybe you're at the point in your life where you don't even know what's next. And that could very well be the case. Maybe you just came out of a divorce. Maybe you're going through something really difficult and you don't know what the next steps are. And you're kind of in that like limbo period. Being able to just even understand what do I want next for myself is a process. And really that's where I think someone like myself or a coach or perhaps a really great therapist could kind of help you to give yourself the outline of what is next. You don't necessarily need a 10-year plan. Maybe you just need a 2-year plan. Sometimes I think looking too far ahead in the future can hurt you because you don't know what's going to happen in, for example, those 10 years that's going to make you pivot. I think every time we start something, whether it's a job, career, relationship, you know, friendship, even a family relationship, we don't ever think that it's going to end or that it's going to need to change or our relationship's going to look different or this isn't going to look like the way it did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, but change is always happening. And being able to be adaptive and go with the change and pivot and say, you know what, I'm not happy here. I want this to look a little different, or I want more here than I had before. That's called life. And learning how to understand that whole process and move and pivot and adjust and not just let the negative voice or the self-doubt creep in for too long is going to help you obviously tremendously, right? It's going to help you to actually have the things that you want to keep growing, because this is the evolution. You're supposed to be changing and evolving. You're not supposed to be staying stuck in one place forever and ever. And you're definitely not supposed to let the doubt be the enemy and not the teacher. So for me personally, I know that I may stay stuck in doubt for too long of a period of time, much like you. But for me, I always get to a point where I just get sick. I get sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Where I'm sick of pondering this or thinking so much about it that I kind of just put up my hands and say, I'm just going to do it. And that's really what it takes for me. For someone else, it might look completely different. Maybe you need a little bit more of a push. Maybe you need a little bit more of a handhold. You really want to figure out, what is the actual thing that's stopping you right now? Is it the perfectionism? Is it, what are people going to think? Is it, will anyone like this? Is it, how am I going to be able to do this? No one else has done it before. Like, what is the fear-based question? Because that really is what self-doubt is. It's a fear-based question that accumulates over time because you fed it, and then it becomes self-doubt. And the self-doubt is what stops you dead in your tracks from actually moving forward. It's the thing that's going to start creating the negative inner voice, inner conversation that you're having every single day that you don't realize you're having, that is contributing to why you don't have this thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people just blame life, society, this person in front of you, or an ex or a parent or whatever. They blame it on everyone else when it has nothing to do with everyone else and everything to do with, what have you been doing? The fear-based question, do you even know what it is? The doubt, being able to call it by name. Yes, this is the fear that I have. And this is how I've been feeding it unconsciously throughout my entire day for the past 3 years, right? This is the thing that I've been feeding that now has kept me completely debilitated and stuck. So now you've been contributing to this problem for example, the last 3 years. Now you have to take accountability. Now you have to own that you created this problem, not anyone else. Someone may have put you in a position, but then you created yourself to stay in that position for way too long. When you start to take accountability and responsibility, then you stop what you've been doing dead in its tracks. And now you're going to start doing something different. And when that happens, now you have control. You have control over the situation. But before, you actually didn't have control because you were unconsciously feeding something that you had no idea. You had no idea that you are creating this problem and this thing to continue. Doubt is never going to fully disappear, but it will get quieter and quieter the more you do these little tiny things. And this is really where kind of working one-on-one is. We can really break down, what is the fear? What is the story? What are the things that you're doing that's hurting yourself? And I'm really going to be honest and tell you all the things that you need to be doing daily to have more self-control over this beast that you've created. A lot of it is going to be self-parenting, but a lot of it is really just going to be able to start breaking down how to achieve something that you want for yourself. And when we're at this stage of life, usually we have felt very confident at points, but I think at this stage we can sometimes feel really insecure and not feel like ourselves for a variety of reasons, which I've always kind of hinted towards, right? We got hormones, we're aging, we don't feel the same, our bodies don't look the same. You know, we still have those insecurities that we maybe even had in our 20s that we never really dealt with because we didn't heal any of our stuff. We have all of this stuff sometimes working against us. And it's not until you really take full responsibility for yourself and say, look, I'm at this point in my life, I'm at midlife. If I really want this next chapter to be absolutely amazing, I have to own where I'm at, figure out where I want to be, and then start moving myself there. So there's 3 things that you're trying to do. You're trying to heal from some of the stuff of your past and work on your inner self. You're trying to understand who you are now and what is it that you actually want and how you want it to look. And then you need to learn how to be able to take what is it that you want and break it down so it doesn't seem so scary that it intimidates you that you don't ever do anything about it. And then you stay stuck and you live the same life over and over again, the same days, the same years. And then you wake up in another 20 years and you're completely miserable, or you have so much regret, which is what we don't want to have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. If you did, don't forget to like and give me a little thumbs up down below. I would really appreciate it. Go follow me on social. I'll link everything down below as well for you to come find me, whether it's on Like to Know It, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the things. The new podcast is alive now. We have started back up with the podcast. I usually take a break in the summer because the kids are home and it's madness around here. I'm just going to be honest with you. But we are back with a brand new podcast, so I will link that down below as well. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you also for such lovely comments over the last month with all of the new topics and types of content, whether that's on shorts and showing you some fashion stuff, some beauty stuff. Like, this is who I am. I am a 44-year-old mom, coach, partner, daughter, woman, going through perimenopause, dealing with new struggles that we go through. And I think learning how to always continuously learning how to be the best version of ourselves and working on ourselves and figuring out what are those things within each of us that we really need to work on. We've all had self-doubt. I've had self-doubt. Even doing the pivot here on the channel or on YouTube or on social media, the podcast, whatever, in terms of this new content, being hesitant to let you guys into where I'm at and what my growth looks like. Because if this is my growth and my journey, it probably looks similar to you. It's probably the same things that you're going through as well. So thank you guys so much for just embracing it and being so supportive. I'm so incredibly grateful that I have this platform and have this channel. And I'm so glad you guys are along for the journey and the ride with me. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you in next week's video. Take care. Enjoy the beautiful weather while we have it, because fall is definitely creeping here. We're starting to see all the leaves changing. So before you know it, this is going to be completely bare and there'll be snow on the ground. So hope you guys are well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.